let's have a look at something that's not a video camera. I've got a National Highway, presumably, auto reverse stereo cassette player. It's model RQ-R1, and I put a tape in it and it played for a while, but now the tape is stuck and it just makes a bit of a noise like there's a motor spinning but not engaging on anything. So presumably the belt's slipping or gone. So none of the functions work. The stop is up there and the head is slightly engaged, so it's not possible to take the tape out at the moment. So let's see if we can get it out and if we can solve the problem. Now you need a socket or hex driver to remove the volume control, which is interesting. It's also a power on off. And then I've got here a JIS0 which fits the screws. So I've got some disassembly instructions here which say you've got to remove, for the bottom case, which is what we want to take off, remove 6 screws A. So there's more than that. That's that one, that one. And then the 3 down that side, so you don't remove those by the look of it. Those are C. So that must be for something else. Okay, well let's do that then. Oh, that one there. I was wondering if that metal part comes out by itself. Okay, and there's 3 along this side. Are they all the same? Looks like it. Does that mean it comes out now? Oh, I see what's going on. That rim there is attached to the part that we're removing. Should we take those other ones out regardless? They're different. The ones from the back are different screws. Okay, that's started. Now, maybe we have to take these out. I don't know about that. Oh, those are different again. Really short ones off this end. Now what? I really wanted to be able to get the bottom off so that I can do whatever needs doing and then get the tape out, because you can't take the top part off if the tape is stuck in there. I was hoping that would come off. So slide the cassette holder lock towards the open side to open the lid, then remove the bottom case. So it seems like you have to open the lid before you can remove the case, which we're not going to be able to do that. But they don't say there's any clips or anything to undo. Okay, there you go. Let's get rid of that for now. So what have we got? A flexible board. Wow. There's the motor. Oh, so you did have to take the screws off. All the screws, because that is one piece. That was quite strange that the instructions didn't mention that. So it wasn't just 6, it was more than that. Anyway, maybe I didn't read it right. So the negative side is just a spring going to something. Presumably it just touches the housing? Don't know. Oh yeah, it looks like it just touches that. So the whole chassis will be the negative. Never bend. Oh, it says never bend bent portion back. So presumably that means this bent part cannot be straightened. Apparently what we have to do is desolder a whole bunch of stuff and then take this board off. in order to get to the mechanism. And then there were a couple of screws that could be removed to open up an access, like to access the belt. Okay, might try powering this up to see if obvious whether it's just a belt slipping or if there's something else going on. It'll be fun trying to put this back together. I really need to organize something to go on the DC in connector. Has DC in center negative little tiny jack. Yeah, the belt's just slipping. There we go. Got it to the stop position. So now we'll be able to open the door. Except, oh yeah, the latch was a tape of some sort that I found in my pile of tapes. To use the rewind and fast forward on this machine, it pushes down the reels, or the spindles, and then stop by this button on the side. So perhaps all we need to do is replace the belt and then we'll be back in business. Okay, I'll work out what I need to do to desolder it and then we'll do that. Okay, well let's see what we can do. Gotta desolder a bunch of stuff. Starting with the playback headboard. Okay, but they warn you that that's also double-sided tape down. Which the tape is now melted into the thing. Can't tell if I'm ripping something or not. It's just really strong tape. Oh, okay, so there was a little pin. Yeah, you can't see any of that. So there was a little tiny pin there that ring was over, which... Okay, that's peeled off now, so that's playback head. There's also this tape, this black tape over the edges there. Okay, that's peeled off. Now we got solenoid mountings in two places. We got the battery mounting, and then we got these front. There's two flexes there which go up to these buttons, the play direction buttons. So that has to come off. But yeah, those are also taped down. Oh, what an annoying thing. And then there's the battery terminal here. Maybe that will be... Oh yeah, look at that. There's a bunch of other things in a corner somewhere. Whatever that is there. I don't even know where that is. I thought it was that, but... was it up there somewhere? I'll look for that one later. So there's another battery mounting thing here. That's freed. And we've got, then there's this tiny screw there, red, so you know that that's for servicing. And that way you don't have to undo those the leaf switch thingies, which it holds down. I'm a bit concerned about these here because of all the tape that's around it. Try and scrape off a bit of that solder. I'm going to do that without melting the flex. Let's see, can we do it? Yes. Okay, that side's free. Okay, that's peeled off now. Now what? We got solenoids. There's two solenoids in the machine which have terminals soldered down. Thinking we need to lift it all up so that it's got some willingness for those solder connections to come off. There we go. Those are off. Clean those a little bit. And now there's solder terminals on this side. There's a little plastic bumper thing in the way. I think those have come off. Now there's another red screw down here, which looks like it's holding the volume control. Is it the same screw as the other one? No, it's different. Okay. So the volume control uses this plastic type screw, whereas the other one's, the red one from there is a machine screw. So presumably that lifts up now? Don't know, it does something. There's also the So we've got to work out where those other solder points are. There's a whole bunch of things down here. I will look into this. Okay, so there are wires that have to come off, which is the red and the blue wires, which is cassette detect switch, and more of that tape. And I cut my fingernails, so now everything's difficult. Okay, so we can take the blue wire off. We can see that one there. Oh, so that says CD, cassette detect. And the red one is on the side there. It's angled in there. So we take that off. It also says CD. And now, apparently you have to do LED solder. Oh yeah, so S10, S11. So I guess you have to lift that strip up to see those, and that's also part of the LED soldering. I see, so the LED there doesn't have a second terminal, it's this flex that does that. Yeah, but there's all the other business. What are the other things we have to remove? Just study this very closely to work out based on the track layout. It's weird. This here is apparently that blob there where they actually join together. So it doesn't look like they're supposed to be joined together because that's two different tracks there, but they are joined because that there is the cassette detect, so it's directly above that, and those two things there are the two through-hole connections right there. So we're going to undo two connections there and two connections there. Let's just give it a poke, and then we might use a sucking device. Let's see what this desoldering pump can do. If not, we have to get out the big guns. Oh yeah, that cleared it well. Poking the pins gently to see that they are properly freed. One of them is not quite freed. Just put a little bit of new solder on that. Try sucking it away again. Okay, that's free now. So, are there any others we have to do? We've done the battery terminal. Yes, because that's what they had that for out. Oh, the LED, we might as well suck that. We need to finish off the solenoid connections. I think those are still hanging on slightly. There's something else going on as well in that area. Oh, maybe it's the volume control stuff. Which seems to be trapped under the edge. There we go. Ah, we also have the motor wires. Is that indicated on this? No, but I think they are long enough to reach. Yeah, there's extra wire there. On the hook there. The solenoid connections still hanging on somehow. There we go. Now freed. Oh. Okay, look at that. We got in. Just check the condition of this. Yeah, there's been a bit of capacitor leakage. It hasn't quite eaten through the board yet, but you can see there's a big mark around that area, so those capacitors would have gone bad. So probably they've all gone bad to some degree. Flywheel cover here, which we take off with this, and on the other side you need to open the door. This one here, I think, is that correct? No, well, yeah, you have to take that off, which is the head cover, or everything cover. Then that reveals the screw here. Problem is the head cable is taped down to that. Oh. Can we get that off without ripping it? Okay, so now this part should lift out. It's slightly interlocked. Might have to take the motor off. There's 2 screws. Now this can move over enough. There we go. Here's the belt, which is a bit toast. I need to find a belt like this to replace it. We'll go and have a look and see what I can find. I'm not going to have capacitors of that physical size lying around to replace them, unfortunately. So it might be the end for this machine. Well, the end once these capacitors finish corroding the board, which I've started having a good go at. I don't know where I got this machine, and I've never tried it before until yesterday when the tape got stuck in it. But it did play before that. I will look for a belt. Unfortunately, it seems a lot of the belts that I've got are trying to return to the earth. They're gone all gross and sticky, which is a little bit unfortunate. Quite a lot are still somewhat functioning, but yeah. The one that's come off the machine, and I found that, which seems pretty similar. Still got a bit of stretch in it. There's also that one, but it's just that's quite a bit shorter. That's gone pretty hard. I don't have any new belts. I've only got stuff that I've recovered out of other equipment. So looking through this pile of non-disintegrated belts. And so I think I'll try this one. See if we can get that on there and see how it feels. To work out how to do this. Does the twist go in that direction? Maybe we could look in the instructions. Yeah, that seems reasonable. As part of this assembly, which pushes down on it. So we'll try putting back one of the screws for the motor, just so that doesn't float away. And then we'll see if we can get this thing back in. So it's got little hooks, little hookies that go over the edges of this plate. Know about getting that belt around there. Probably gonna get grease on the belt now. I don't know which way we should even approach this. We need tweezers. Well, the belt's on the thing. Okay, so it's in position. Just put one screw in the corner there to retain it. And we'll survey the damage. Oh, I see. It's the belt's hooked onto something around there. Okay, there we go. So it's free now. There's some little post thing deep down there. You can see the reflection off of it. And the belt was squished under that. Okay, so it's not squished under it now. So that means we can put back some screws. These are both the same screws, so one of them holds the other side of the motor. Do that up properly, and then the other one was from inside here to hold this metal plate in. So I guess we put the board back and try it. I'm not going to be able to replace the capacitors, unfortunately. They're the ones here, the leakiest looking ones, seem to be 4 volt 100 microfarad. Pretty crazy. Probably got some 10 volt ones, but would they fit in that place though? That's the problem. Without bottoming out. Oh, the 100 microfarad caps I got are huge. There's really nothing of that persuasion. Got these 47 mic 25 volt, which are fairly small, but they're not in a different league of small really. I've also got these 22 microfarad 25 volt. Yeah, those are kind of the same size, but that's not the same value, so I think we're going to be a bit out of luck there. See, that's the size we need. But this is 2.2 microfarad 50 volt. So we're just going to leave the caps that are there, and it's going to be too bad. And unfortunately in a period of time this machine will be ruined. Yeah, it's really disappointing. I wonder if I could try to put the 47 mics in there. Those ones that are in there are probably less than 47 mics left on them anyway. If that would work. Problem is it's going to end up hitting the flywheel because they've got to go down in this gap here. So it's not going to work, unfortunately. We've got these 22 mic capacitors. Those would probably fit. So we take out one of these 100 mic, try to measure it. If it's less than 22, then we might as well replace it with one of these 22s. But then there's these even smaller ones next to it, which are 4.7, I think. 47 microfarad, 4 volts. It's just crazy. Don't have stuff that small. Suppose you put a ceramic cap in there now, of that size. Problem is these caps are so wrecked that it's going to disintegrate when we try and get it out. Yeah, the legs are all swollen up on it. Yeah, we'll try and measure it with the multimeter because its legs aren't long enough to go into that other tester. Let's see what this reckons. It's got something in it. 120 microfarad. So the capacitor's still mint. Well, there you go. Well, maybe we'll just leave them as they are because the capacitor still seems to work. And bizarrely has way higher value than what it would have even had originally. Tracks though are absolutely wrecked. And there's corrosion around the legs. So it's definitely leaked. It's supposed to be 1000 microfarad. No, it definitely says 100 on it. 100 microfarad, 4 volt. Weird. Is this a weird, this is like a special type of capacitor that as it ages it gets more capacitance rather than less? I think the multimeter tells a bit of a lie. Well, it just looks like it's running at quite a low frequency because it says charge and discharge on the screen. So this will probably be useless at higher frequency. There you go, capacitors. I'm going to try and put this board back and see if we can get all the little bits and pieces soldered back on. Then we'll see if it works. And do not unbend the bend thing. Oh, those wires are now stuck under it. And a connector there for the tuner adapter thing. That would be neat to have. That's all come through. Those pins have come through. Volume control. Get that into the right position. So the volume control was this screw here. Goes into a plastic post thing. And then this switches was this machine screw. That's good, so that means everything's lined up. Then we've got to get these wires connected. And we start soldering these little switch thingies under here. So I put that solder blob back where it looks like it's not supposed to go, but it was. LED. And the other terminal of the LED is on this flex. Okay, so that's attached. Now we've got this head thing to do. Tape that back. Fold that back down onto here. That little post goes through. Adding fresh solder so the flux gets in and then push it down with the tweezers. There you go. That's all attached nicely. Now we got these solenoid thingies. Probably get a bit of fresh solder down into those. I kind of want to do them both at the same time so that the board sinks down. That's good. Yeah, the old flux crackling and bubbling. So that's good. Now we got these switch connections, but I'm not sure how those wire on. So the two center ones are common there, even though they go to their own pads. And it's not really joined on yet. A bit more flux to coerce it. I don't think it's joined. This one's not very cooperative. I think it's because it's not positioned right. No, it's not interested in joining at all. Okay, I think that's joined on now. That was a lot more, put up a lot more white than I wanted, although it doesn't look like it's joined on the... It looks like that one's not joined, but that one there is. I don't know. Kind of need, what it needs is a little bit of strand of wire laying across it for the solder to pass along. Okay. I reckon it's joined now. We got the battery terminal thing. Hopefully. Good, that's easy. Put back this taped thing. Oh no, it's lifted up and gone on the wrong side of that. Okay, what's remaining? The other battery terminal, which and the little red and black wires, or red and blue wires. That. Oh, and it was under that tape, but that tape sort of put itself back down, hasn't it? Then we got the power connector, the other battery terminal. I think we've got to put this thing back on first. Otherwise it's going to get, the place that it goes is going to get covered by this side piece. Yes, it hooks onto that. Okay, well that one goes there. Okay, so now we've got this end part. Kind of clips in. And that's held by that being soldered. So I think we've got everything, put back now. Those went in really easy. That was really difficult. So we've got that power, that, and that just comes out of there. I thought it's supposed to go behind this insulating piece, but it seems to just sort of squeeze itself out and go back on the top. Got the solenoids done, got those bits there done, the LED and its extra wire, or this linking track, the blue wire under there, that's taped down again as much as it can be, red wires down there. Well, let's just turn it on and see what happens. It's running. Well, the flywheel works, but I'm not sure if it's doing what it's supposed to be. There's no tape in it, so the wheels are turning. I'm not sure why when you push stop. Possible it's screwed up the connection to these buttons. Don't know, should we put the tape in it anyway? It's not very successful sounding, is it? I'm thinking maybe one of those buttons is shorted out now because we wrecked the cable from trying to solder it down so much. I'm not really sure what the next step is. We could try measuring the signal coming from those buttons to see if one of them is shorted out. Doesn't appear to be. Can we do that while we push it? Is that possible? Presumably that's just ground. Can't get anything to read right on this thing. Yeah, meter's working. There you go. So it shows some value, and then when you push the button it goes shorted. Is that the same for the other one? Seems to be. Did we miss something else up then? Oh, maybe it's that bit that was shorted out originally that I didn't short out. Those two pads were joined together before, so maybe they need to be. It also looks like the track of it goes to that capacitor I pulled out. Maybe. Nah. Okay, well let's short out those things then. Short out two random pads that we shorted out before, but it doesn't show like that in the service manual. There you go. They're now joined together as they were before. Could just join a 3-volt power supply up to this thing, couldn't we? That would save us trying to hold that stuff together. 3 volts. Ah, so when it's closed, it's running? That's bizarre. So it just starts playing when you close it. And when you open it, it stops. I'll get some earphones and I'll try it. Whatever switches the head over between the sides doesn't work. So when it's playing the other side, it just plays in reverse. So something's up with whatever switches the head. Maybe it's to do with this part here. But it does play and it sounds fine when you're playing the side that plays forward direction. Yeah, so it's got issues, but it does work. So I'm pretty sure this machine's from the 80s. So it's quite amazing that it does work at all. It's quite possible from me pulling at it, I've dislodged one of these tiny little components. Massive solder blob there. That there is not soldered down anymore, so yeah, I think we disturbed that when we were resoldering it or desoldering it, so perhaps that's what the problem is. Aha, so maybe we found the problem, because I think what that was going to was some switches. So they are now soldered down. That one doesn't look soldered down in the video. I think it's just the shape of the solder and the way it reflects the light. It certainly feels well soldered down. Okay, well let's try this again. Okay, so the current consumption there is 10 milliamps. So it's not doing anything, so that's a much better sign, isn't it? Ah, interesting, if you open it, the power goes off. That looks better, doesn't it? So it's 100 milliamps, 115 milliamps. Well, it works fine now, so that's quite encouraging. I wonder if I could play a very small amount of it just to prove that. Does that matter? I don't know. Well, let's put the rest of the thing back together. So this was the most concerning bit, because I couldn't work out how this thing with its little tiny spring went. Because it seemed to just be attached and then it wasn't. Imagine if we read the manual to work it out. Come on, no one does that. I don't think we have to do anything else other than put the housing back. So let's just put the housing back then. And that's going to be interesting. Those have to line up, so those both pushed in. 3 longer screws here. Oh yeah, that's pretty straightforward. So these 3 longer ones were the ones on the back. The 3 really short ones were the ones on that, the ones on the front top edge where the open button is. Yes, those super short ones with on this front part, which is currently not quite lined up properly. But I think we can get in there with these tweezers and yoink it over a bit. There we go. So the super short screws. Now we've got 6 medium length screws that are all the other remaining ones. Okay, and then we've got a volume control. Put it to the off position, and then we can line that up. Since it looks like it can go around 2 ways. So it's off, and then there's a little hex to do it up. Quite a vulnerable feeling thing there. So that's fine. check it. Bit of a bad connection on this. I'll test those. Good, all working. So that's great. Neat little machine. It's going to stop working soon because it's fully corroding inside from the leaking capacitors. Such is life. Okay, final bit of this video will demonstrate this playing in both directions. Very good. There you go. Looks like it's got stuck again.